Come on in, you guys. We got a brand new episode of Jimmy Rants in store for you. JimmyRants.com is the website if you want to join live. We do start off this show over on Instagram, so go follow me there at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVIN LOWCARBMAN. Once you are there, engage live, just like Linda and Camilla and Haggai. Haggai is Mag Jedi. I hadn't seen you in forever, dude. All of you guys are here today. Thank you for being here, and all the rest that are coming in right now on Jimmy Rants. If you missed the live, you can watch it on replay for up to 24 hours on Instagram. I also simulcast over here on my Facebook page, so thank you guys for being here today as well. If you need to see any of the past episodes, we have them in two different places for you. JimmyRants.com is the official website for this show. And then over on YouTube, if you type in a keyword Jimmy Rants, you will find the show. So guys, it is Friday, and you know what that means if you're a regular viewer of Jimmy Rants. What we do on Fridays is we answer listener questions that you have for me. This is literally an Ask Me Anything segment. So literally, this is your time to shine. You got questions all throughout the week. I get questions that are totally off topic from what I'm talking about in a Jimmy Rants. And so people write these questions. I always say, come back on Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern time, because that's when we do an Ask Me Anything. So today is your day. If you got a question you've been dying to ask me about keto, about cholesterol, fasting, writing books, doing podcasts, all the rest, or something personal about me, that's fine too. Any question is fair game. So please ask your questions. All right, so before we get started with your questions, while I'm letting you type in your questions down there, I always like to start these Ask Me Anythings with some things of interest. And so yesterday, you guys, I was thinking, I wonder if there is a COVID-19 antibody test that I could have run either at home or at a clinic somewhere. And so I started Googling, and I looked up COVID-19 antibody test. And I found a place 2 miles from my house. In fact, I'm going to show it on the screen on Instagram, which shows up on YouTube. This is the center that I found. It's called Arc Point, or it's covered up on my screen, so I can't see what it's actually called. There it is, Arc Point Labs of Spartanburg. So that's the lab that I went to. Literally, it's 2 miles from my house here. And I was able to get this test right here. This is called the COVID test. It was $70 out of pocket, and it's not testing for the presence of COVID-19, but rather the presence of the antibodies with COVID-19. And so I'm going to show you the results of my antibodies. It's pretty boring because I came back negative. Negative for both the IgG, which is the one if you recently have had it, or if you're just having it now, just now getting it, it'll show up as the IgG antibody. The IgM is the one that sticks around a little bit longer after you've had COVID-19 and you've recovered. IgM is the one that would show up showing that you had this in your system. So I thought that was really fascinating, you guys, and I just wanted to show you you can find a test locally if this is something that's on your heart. You'll recall a few weeks ago I was talking about having that sudden feeling of tiredness for about 3 days in a row. So I thought, okay, this could be my reaction to COVID-19 if I got it. And so that's why I was curious about running this. Really happy to see I was negative. It means all the things I've been doing to try to keep myself safe from it and healthy from it are working. And so let that be an encouragement to you. But literally all I did, guys, Google in quotation marks COVID-19 antibody test, and then you might find one of these Arc Point places near you or some other clinic. And if you're curious about it, give it a go. I think there's certainly nothing wrong with that. All right, so a couple of other things before we get to your questions. We have now the first published study about COVID-19 and the severity of the symptoms with vitamin D levels. I don't want to read the whole study, but the study's paper is called Evidence that Vitamin D Supplementation Could Reduce Risk of Influenza and COVID-19 Infections and Deaths. It was published last month. And what they did was they compared the vitamin D blood levels in patients who had various symptoms with COVID-19, from mild, ordinary, severe, and critical. So normal vitamin D was considered 30 nanograms per milliliter or above, insufficient between 21 to 29, and deficient below 20. Now, you guys know from listening to me for a long time, if you're at 30, I think you're pretty deficient. I ideally think the great range for a vitamin D level in your body is probably somewhere between 50 to 75. So when I saw their, quote, normal levels, I was like, okay, 30? Okay. But they saw enough statistical interesting findings. They looked at 212 cases, and the average vitamin D level in these people, again, with the most severe cases of COVID-19, 212 cases, the average 24 nanograms per milliliter. That means some people had higher in maybe 40s and 50s. Other people were in the teens and maybe single digits. So this is scary. Okay, so this wasn't all severe cases. It was just people that had COVID-19. 212 cases. 23% of them were categorized as mild. Those people had an average of 31 on their vitamin D. 28% were ordinary. Their average was 27. This is referring to the level of symptoms with COVID-19. So mild or ordinary, that. 26% were severe. Their average vitamin D level was 21. 48 were critical, which means they were put on the oxygen, and their respiratory failure is coming into play here. 23% were critical with an average of vitamin D of 17. 86% of all cases among patients with normal vitamin D were mild, while 73% of cases among patients with vitamin D below 30 were either severe or critical. Huge, you guys. So let's see if there's any other statistics that are interesting here. Basically what they found was, if we're going to look at any kind of indication in the blood that could show whether someone's going to be severe in their symptoms of COVID-19 or not, it's vitamin D. Now, since all this went down long before they put us in lockdown, as soon as I heard about this coronavirus coming to America, I did two things very proactive regarding vitamin D. First, I already take a pretty good dose of vitamin D supplementation, somewhere between 5 to 10,000 IU of vitamin D3 gel caps. I've been doing that for years. I upped it to about 25 to 30,000, just as a preemptive. Now people are like, oh my God, you're going to get toxicity. I have interviewed Michael Hollick and enough of the people over the years who are vitamin D experts on the Living La Vida Low Carb show, and they said you don't really see toxic levels of vitamin D from taking tens of thousands of IU of it. The only case he ever saw, Dr. Hollick ever saw, was when this attorney decided to take it himself, and he accidentally, I don't know how you accidentally do this, but he accidentally took 1 million IU at one time. He got toxicity of vitamin D. Gee, I wonder why. But that's the only case he's ever heard of that people got toxic levels of vitamin D. The second thing that I've been doing is being purposeful in getting out in the sun every day, which not just the vitamin D production, but making you happy and calming you down, getting the breath of fresh air, getting out in nature. All of those things are good things anyway. But I was really happy to see we now have some published research that shows there is a connection between your vitamin D levels and the severity of COVID-19 should you get it. All right, and the last story, and again, you joined us late, we're going to do an Ask Me Anything. Literally write down your questions right down there for me to answer. I'll be happy to go through as many of them as I can. We've got an hour here today on Jimmy Rants, so fire away with whatever questions are on your mind. This last story is something interesting happening in China. So China, was the first to be ravaged by COVID-19, and so they're probably a month or two ahead of America as far as things getting back to, quote, normal again. And so one of the things that has happened is they have reopened restaurants and cafes. By the way, shout out to Keto Neogenesis Beth for sending me this story. They're reopening restaurants and cafes, and something interesting is starting to happen. You guys know all those fake plant-based meats that are out there from Beyond Meat and from Impossible Burger and all that kind of stuff. It's been here in America for a little while. Well, it has not been in China. Well, now, since COVID-19 and some of the meat shortages that have happened over there, guess who decides to swoop in to try to save the day? We're now seeing more plant-based fake meat products popping up on menus in the restaurants in China. Fast food chain KFC said it's going to start trialing fake chicken nuggets starting next week. They've already started selling throughout thousands of Starbucks across China. Many people are now looking for healthier lifestyles. So they are now going to use this crisis as a means for saying, whoa, we had no idea just how unhealthy we were. We need to make better choices so our immune system is stronger. We're going to push plant-based meat on everybody. And guys, we think that won't happen in America. Think about what's going to happen when all this kind of subsides and we get back to some semblance of normality. That's going to be a way long time for it to be fully normal again. But the new normal of reopening and all the things that are going to happen here in a few months, don't be surprised if the Beyond Meat people and Impossible Burger, that they ramp up their efforts and they use COVID-19 as their excuse for why you need to eat more plant-based burgers. Don't doubt me. China is giving us a little sneak peek of what is to come. All right, let's see what your questions are for this Ask Me Anything. Thank you for being here. We're going to come to Facebook after we hit Instagram Live for a little while, but thank you for being here, you guys. Welcome in, welcome in. As always, JimmyRants.com is where you can get all the past episodes of this here show. Hi guys, Mac Jedi. What's up, man? He has the first question. Rebel Creamery, is it a good or bad on keto? And is your jersey inside out? No, my jersey's not inside out. It's just faded from washing. I'm sure Dak Prescott doesn't mind because I'm still like, okay, there's the inside out. So, Rebel, yes. I love Rebel ice cream. Those of you that don't know, this started as a crowdsourcing campaign. I remember they reached out to me and they're like, hey, will you tell people about our keto ice cream? But of course, I get inundated by everybody. They all, oh, I've got the best keto product ever. We need your voice to help get it out there. And most of the time, I'm just like, yeah, stand in line. Because I'm not impressed by most of the products that come out there. But this company reaches out. We're trying to get crowdsourcing. I can't remember if they did Kickstarter or what they did. I think it was Kickstarter. And I was like, well, can I try your ice cream? I don't want to just talk about it with my followers unless I actually get to try it myself. Well, we don't have any in stock, but trust us, it's good. I'm like, I don't trust anybody, like literally. Oh, but it's low carb and high fat. I think you're going to like it. Okay, great. Send me some. And I never got any. So then I saw it showed up in stores. Publix in my local area has it. Kroger also carries it. I think it's starting to be carried in some other places. But it is a genuinely low carb, high fat ice cream, which makes so much sense. You would think ice cream is one of the easiest things to make keto, and not some of these low carb, like Carb Smart. It's got some maltitol and all kind of yucky stuff in it. So I'm really happy to see Rebel is out there. So to answer your question, good or bad on keto, certainly I don't think you need to have it every day. If you're going to have it, it's definitely going to be treated like a treat. I will tell you, my favorite flavor, by the way, triple chocolate. That is my favorite one. I think it's got the richest flavor, and I'm a big chocolate fan. But they've got quite a few really good flavors. The trick to it is not eating it right out of the freezer. It's going to be frozen solid. You stick it on the counter for about 20 to 30 minutes, and it softens up. Then when you eat it, it's really creamy. So if you've ever tried to eat it and it's just this, it's kind of like trying to eat a hard avocado. It's gross. But if you leave it out on the counter and you let it mature and ripen, then you get into it and it's nice, creamy, it's beautiful. So same with Rebel ice cream. I love it. The only side effect I will tell you that I've experienced from consuming Rebel ice cream is it does have sweeteners in there that will cause some gas. At least it did in me. So when I have it, I have about 6 pints in my freezer out front. I probably have it about once every other week just to have a little something. Or if I'm having one of those moments where I need some ice cream. And so, yeah, I like it. I think it probably could be a nice aid for people who are just starting on keto and need a little something sweet. It is sweet, but it's not overwhelmingly sweet. I like that as well. So I am a big fan, despite the fact they never sent me any to try for myself. But thank you for that question, bud. Kat corrects me. IgG is the long-term immunity. IgM is the short-term. Thank you for the clarification. Thank you. I knew my medical friends watching this would correct me very quickly on that. So thank you, Kat. I know you love me. Cariana says, I caught you on Matt and Mega's channel. Great conversation. So yeah, if you missed my appearance on the Keto Connect, they're doing a show from their home right now because we're all quarantined on YouTube. And so it was so fascinating because I did it from right here in Jimmy Rant Studios. Had my iPhone 11 right here. And I remember getting on the screen and I could see my little bubble of my face up in the corner, but the whole screen was black. And I'm like, Matt and Mega, are you there? Oh yeah, we're on YouTube. Is this okay? You won't be able to see us. I'm like, oh okay. I mean, I've done enough television over the years. I remember I was on the Neil Cavuto show on Fox News one time. They wanted my opinion about something health in the news. So I go to my local Fox News affiliate here in the Greenville, Spartanburg, South Carolina area. And all they did was stick a camera right in front of my face with a little red light when it was on. And I had no idea. I had a little earpiece in so I could hear Neil, but I had no idea what was going on the screen. So if you ever watch TV and you see somebody that's like remote and their eyes are like really big, it's like there's nobody around. Literally, it was a camera and a whole bunch of like equipment and a dark studio behind it. So that's kind of what I felt like the other day talking to Matt and Mega. I'm sitting here looking at the camera and do they see me? But if you look at it, go look it up on Keto Connect. So type in Keto Connect on YouTube. You will find their videos. But yeah, had a great conversation. What was really interesting was after it was over, if you go to the comment section, I got some really, really ugly comments about me personally. People think I'm just stuffing my mouth with carbs, that I'm a bad representative of keto and you're still fat. What are you doing talking about hell? All the stuff that I'm always used to. So if you want to chime in down there in the comment section, it's always fun to read it. But it is my life. Ideal. But thank you, Cariana. I hope you enjoyed the show. Kat says, good thing we can get our vitamin D naturally this time of year. Not only in the South, we need cholesterol for vitamin D production, so I'm eating my butter. Yes, eat saturated fat and get lots and lots of sunshine. Never a bad thing. R.W. Hempel, do you trust Dr. Fauci and Birx? Hope that's okay to ask. I understand if you don't want to answer. Honestly, they're going to do what they're going to do. Like, I'm not really paying a whole lot of close attention to what these coronavirus task force members are saying, only because there's nothing about watching that that's going to change them from what they're going to do. So honestly, I don't have an opinion. I know people don't like what's going on and coming out of the mouth. Or Fauci is a shill for WHO and for Bill Gates. I'm hearing all that stuff, but I just, at the end of the day, that's not going to directly impact me near like some other things are. So I'm honestly not really paying much attention to it. Jay Cup says, hi Jimmy, during a HIIT workout, high intensity interval training, how much of the 300 grams of emergency muscle glycogen gets burned off during 7 to 15 minutes of HIIT? And if you don't eat after and simply fast post-workout, will your body draw from your fat stores? So great questions. Honestly, it's going to be determined from person to person based on your metabolic rate, based on how hard you went during the HIIT workout. I don't think the duration of it, 7 to 15 minutes, matters. I think it's more the person themselves, how hard they go, the expenditure of energy, how much body mass do they have. All of those things matter in trying to figure this out. Will you use up emergency glycogen? Obviously, that's the whole point of why it's there to give you this emergency fuel. I will tell you, you'll do it a whole lot faster doing it that way than probably anything else you do exercise-wise. A high intensity interval training is where you go all out for a period of time, then you have an active recovery, and then all out for a period of time and active recovery, and you just continue those reps. Usually it's somewhere around 8 to 10 reps of that. And yeah, you should burn through quite a bit of your glycogen if you do that. Now, if you fast afterwards, yeah, the fat burning should continue. So great question. Kat says, in The Keto Cure, your book, it has the best ice cream recipe ever, super easy and the bestest. Yeah, Maria Emmerich did the recipes for my book with Dr. Adam Nally called The Keto Cure. Thank you for that endorsement of Maria's recipe. All right, thank you, Instagram Live. Let's pop on over here to my Facebook followers. Hello, guys. Thank you for being here today. Let's see what you got in store as far as questions go. Mitzi says, Adam went live last night. I was notified, but I could not join from the link. I had to join his page. Oh, Adam Nally? Is he the one that went last night? Yeah, there is something wacky going on, you guys. Like, let's not pretend like that things are all systems normal right now across social media. I have noticed it here on Facebook. I've noticed it here on Instagram. In fact, I'll give you a live update as I'm doing this Jimmy Rants. There are 10 people watching me on here. Usually I have about 25 to 30. I'm 12 people over on Instagram Live, and usually I'm about 30 to 40 this far into a Jimmy Rants. Now, it's Friday, maybe people aren't watching, blah, blah, blah. But I have noticed a very significant dip in my traffic across all of my channels. And on YouTube, those of you watching this on YouTube, a bit of a dip as well. And of course, I told you about the issues the other day where they wouldn't let you subscribe. If that was you, by the way, and you're watching this and you're not getting the notifications on YouTube, click unsubscribe and then click resubscribe, and it should work now, is what a lot of people are reporting. But yeah, it's unfortunate, Mitzi. It does look like they're trying to block some of us from being able to get the message out, which is sad. Norma says, are you and Dr. John Lemansky still communicating? I miss hearing you two talk to each other. So yeah, Dr. Lemansky is a medical doctor. He's living in Puerto Rico right now with his wife and kids. And we used to do a show called the Keto Hacking MD podcast on Fridays. It was one of the casualties of Jimmy's sabbatical and needing to back away from working so hard. So we don't do that show anymore. But yes, of course, we talk all the time. I send him my sleep numbers, and he's super jealous because I've had some great sleep lately. But he's also working on the front lines right now, you guys. A lot of people don't realize this. Through telemedicine, helping various people who've gotten COVID-19. He's one of the doctors working on the front line. There's about 6 different clinics in New York City that are begging him to come. They need the help. And he can't get out of Puerto Rico because he's literally the only passenger on the flight, and they won't fly with just one person from Puerto Rico to New York City. So yeah, he and I talk often. In fact, we just talked yesterday via text when I went to get that COVID-19 antibody test. I said, all right, John, what am I supposed to look for? What's the name of the test? And he gave me a name of a test from South Korea. He said the main thing is make sure it is a 95% sensitivity. If they say that, then it's a good test. So yeah, John and I talk pretty often, really good friend. I know that he and his wife, Jen, are doing some Instagram lives, so definitely go follow them over on Instagram. I believe he's John Lemansky, MD, if you want to go follow him. But he's talking a lot about COVID-19 and some stuff you're not hearing about in the mainstream. I might try to get him on the Living La Vida Low Carb show to do a talk about it as well. But yeah, he and I, great friends. You don't stop being friends just because you're no longer co-hosting a podcast together. But thank you for that question. Mitzi says, we're crazy for recommending anyone do anything to support optimal function. We're just supposed to hunker down and wait for the medical countermeasure to save us. Yeah, I'm kind of disturbed of, well, we just need to wait for the vaccine. And I'm like, why wait? Like, go ahead and do proactive things to put your body in a better position. And not everybody's going to take the vaccine when it comes. And that's their prerogative if they don't. Yeah. But you're right. They're kind of making it seem like we're just supposed to just cower in fear and be all curled up in the corner until they come in to save us. Nancy, do you have any thoughts on some states like Georgia opening back up? Salons, tattoo, massage parlors today? Just curious. Honestly, I think the social distancing has worked. So why open Pandora's box again? It will be interesting, and trust me, all eyes are on Georgia right now because everybody's desperate to get back to some semblance of normality again. And I don't think they're thinking through the ramifications of what they're doing. So if you've got people touching people's hair, you got people tattooing, you got people in massage parlors, touching people's skin. I don't know. To me, that's a little bit high risk for now. So I would be concerned about that if they did that here in South Carolina or elsewhere. Maybe Georgia or maybe some of the other states where the outbreaks aren't as widespread as they are in, say, New York City. Perhaps you open those, but you still socially distance and you limit ones that touch people. I don't think we're going to not touch people forever, but for now, we've been doing too much good trying to quell this curve that it would be a shame if this is what helps spike it again. So it will be interesting to watch, that's for sure. John says, what do you think will happen with the low-carb conference schedule? Great question, John. 2020 is shot. I know there is one, because pretty much all the ones between now and the fall are canceled. We just canceled our low-carb cruise. We weren't waiting on anything in particular other than Royal Caribbean. Once they decided to kill the low-carb cruise, or kill the cruise where the low-carb cruise was going to be on, they give you a 125% credit back. In other words, you get the full amount of your booking, but then they add in 25% more value to your booking, so that when you rebook a cruise in the future, you get a better bang for your buck. Maybe you get a better room. I thought that was pretty cool. So that's what we were waiting on to cancel, but KetoCon is canceled, as we've talked about. I haven't heard officially that Keto Fest and Low Carb USA have canceled, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be in the fall. I know Low Carb Houston tends to happen in October, but I'm assuming that's not happening. The only one I've heard that is definitely happening, and please correct me if I'm wrong if anybody has other information, but the only one I know about is the Keto Chow people doing an event in Utah that was supposed to be happening in April. I think it was supposed to happen a couple weeks ago. I was supposed to be one of the speakers there, and then of course all this went down. So I think they've rescheduled for either like early to mid-November. But yeah, 2020, the low carb conference schedule is pretty much dead, as it should be. I mean, I think it would be a little bit irresponsible to do that at this point. The only ones that I know of that happened was the Metabolic Health Summit in California, Dr. Dominique D'Agostino. That was in January. Low Carb Denver. This was an interesting one. They were the first week in March, right as all this was starting to happen, and 1 week later we were locked down in our houses. Low Carb Denver still happened, and all these people were afraid to fly out there. They had hardly anybody show up. So that was an interesting one that they decided to go ahead and do the conference. But most of the other conferences are dead. I'm hoping that they all come back in 2021. I know, and I did a whole Jimmy Rants about KetoCon. I know they took a big financial hit. Even though they didn't offer refunds, they still took a huge financial hit not doing the conference this year. And so we may see some attrition next year with some of these conferences we're used to not happening. So just be aware of that. This impact of COVID-19 is going to have ripple effects through literally everything in our lives, and including the conference schedule with low carb. But thank you for that question. Abel James, my brother, still stalking you, he says. Yes, I have seen you posting and commenting on my YouTube channel and here on Facebook, so thank you, man. I am trying to do my part to cheer people up, provide a calming voice, provide sound information. There's so many alarmists out there just trying to get you to stay in fear. And I'm literally the opposite of that. I'm trying to take fear away, trying to make you feel more comfortable, even as we're all still having these uncertainties in our mind right now. John says it would be cool if they have some virtual events. Yeah, the only bad thing about virtual events is the technology that it would take to make sure it all works smoothly. I mean, it exists. People like me and Abel James, for example, we have the setup with video cameras, and we're professional speakers and have ability to go, with headphones and a microphone. We could do those kinds of things, but how many of these speakers are doing that kind of at-home technology? Not many of them. I can tell you, Dr. Westman in North Carolina, Eric Westman, great friend of mine, he is so technologically inept. How do you turn this on? Can y'all hear me out there? It would just be hilarious. Sorry, Eric, I had to have a little fun at your expense. But yeah, I would love that too. I think somebody could put that together. I don't know how you could do it live. It could be like the traditional summits like Sean Croxton used to do, where you would do a bunch of like ahead of time summits, but that also takes a lot of work. I don't know how quick that could churn around. Just follow the people you enjoy who are providing good content right now, I guess, is the best thing. Abel says, you keep me company while playing piano. Oh, good. I know you have the guitars in the background, Abel. I didn't know you played piano too. Master of all trades you are. All right, let's go back to Instagram Live, see if you got anything. Linda says she unsubscribed and resubscribed on YouTube and it worked for her. Awesome. So again, if you're watching this on YouTube and you didn't get the alert, unsubscribe and then resubscribe and it should get you back on. My web guy Hank went in and he was digging deep trying to figure out why the setting got changed, but he found the setting and he changed it back to the health category. If you missed it the other day, they changed my video content over to the kids category, which does not allow you to set up notifications. So you try to do it and it says, oh, this is a kids channel, you can't get notifications with that. So I guess they don't want adults stalking kids. I don't know what the policy is about, but so unsubscribe, resubscribe, and it works now. Marley says, glad to catch you live. I've watched your videos for years. My question for you, can you touch on dealing with setbacks, plateaus, and weight regain? I've made tons of progress, but still struggling lately. Well, I'm sorry to hear your quote struggling. The only thing I will say about this that I think is an important point to underscore is when people say that they are struggling or they say they're not seeing the results they're looking for, or that this doesn't seem to be working anymore. All of that to me is code for you're only paying attention to weight. Now, don't get me wrong. Weight is an incredible marker that things might or might not be going on well in your body. Okay, so if it's going down, it is a somewhat good marker that you're doing good things in your body. If it's going up, it's a somewhat good marker indicating something is awry in your body. Can I get you to change that thinking? This is where we have gone so wrong in our culture. We have so obsessed about what our weight is at the exclusion of every single health marker there is out there that we just think weight is everything. Weight is a part of everything. It is not everything. Looking at your blood sugar level is a huge marker to pay attention to. Looking at your fasting insulin level, which you can't run at home, but you could go to a clinic and get it run, that is a huge marker to pay attention to. Looking at inflammation levels. Guys, if you never paid attention to inflammation before, if you don't have high inflammation levels, you don't have disease. Literally, the only reason why chronic disease shows up is you have very high inflammation. And that is indicated on several markers. There's IGF-1, there's homocysteine, but the go-to that a lot of the doctors that I've talked to talk about, they look at HSCRP, high sensitivity C-reactive protein. It is a very good marker for inflammation, what you're looking for. Definitely under 3.0 for the marker. Optimally, you want to see that number go below 1.0. I think the last time my nose is starting to itch suddenly. The last time I had mine run, it was like 1.1, something like that. It was right on the edge. Most of the time I've been low carb keto, it's been around 0.5 to 1.0. And so run that number and it will show your level of inflammation. I think all of these things, Marley, are a whole lot more important to be paying attention to. Is it discouraging when you still have fat on your belly? You bet. You know you're talking to the king of the frustration over fat on the belly. What I will remind people of is, how do you feel? How are these health markers? Yes, weight on the body. While I'm on the weight on the body, let me address some people. This is perfect for Ask Me Anything. I am over all those people who are judgy because I still have weight on my body. If that is you and you're discouraged by seeing someone like me still out here talking about health, you need to get over yourself. Because quite frankly, my health will run circles around most of you people that are a whole lot skinnier than me. I could. And so I am over trying, or you're trying to make me feel guilty because I have extra weight on my body. Yes, I have extra weight on the body. I'm not hiding. I'm on camera every single friggin' day here on Jimmy Rants. I don't hide. I put it out there. I'm pretty vibrant and energetic on camera. If I was as sickly as these people were making me out to be, don't you think I would be weak on camera? Like, don't you think it would have manifested in a negative way at some point? Like, Abel remembers. Abel James is over here watching me. You remember in the paleo community, a lot of those people used to make fun of me. Oh, you're the fat guy that eats low carb. Ha, ha, ha. See, low carb did that to you. And that was 10 years ago. 10 years ago. So I'm supposed to still feel bad 10 years later when I'm still around, 10 years older. Yes, still have weight on the body, but yes, still very energetic and vibrant. I'm supposed to suddenly feel bad because you think I should weigh less? Well, bleep you. Seriously. This is called Jimmy Rants for a reason, you guys. I do get to rant from time to time, but the ugliness, you guys, has gotten a lot worse lately. And again, if you missed my Keto Connect interview the other day, Matt and Mega did a wonderful job on their YouTube channel. Go over to YouTube, type in Keto Connect, find my interview that I did with them, and look at the comments. There's like 50-something comments down there as of this morning. And it was a lot of just ugliness about me personally not looking the part. And I'm just like, okay, fine. But, you know, stand in line. There have been people telling me I'm going to keel over tomorrow for a decade and a half. When's it supposed to happen? Like, I've had people even lately say, well, you better hope you don't get COVID-19 because you'll die the next day. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. Gee, thanks. And again, bite me. But all that to say, Marley, you got me off on a tangent, but that was a good tangent. Don't worry about some of these things. Also, right now, keep in mind when we're all stressed, the key here is just to maintain where your health is. If you can make it better, great. But don't fall down the trap of, oh, I must make it better because I must have all this extra time to work on myself. Yeah, screw that. You're going through probably one of the most stressful things you'll go through in your life. So take it easy. If you gain a little weight, stop weighing yourself. That's the way you don't look at that. Doesn't mean you're putting your head in the sand, but it means you're doing all the right things. You're trying to de-stress. You're eating right. You're exercising. You're doing all the things that you're supposed to do. At some point, that will even out. But look at your health markers. March says, thank you for being real. Oh, I'm always real. I did rebrand when I came back from my sabbatical as the man of real. And I've always been pretty real anyway, but I hope you've noticed since I've been back that I'm a whole lot more real than you've ever seen me before. So Jay Cup says, love conquers all. Jimmy, love you. Thank you. Yeah, I don't get too discouraged about the negative comments that people have for me. I realize that is a whole lot less about me than it is about them. But we are human, and you're going to read comments like, oh my gosh, he must be sneaking donuts when nobody's looking. And I'm going, I don't even know what a donut tastes like anymore. It's just, it's funny the perceptions that people have about you simply because of how they see you on the outside. You guys that watch me regularly here on Jimmy Rants, you know my heart. And you know where I'm coming from with most of what I talk about. And here's the other thing. If you thought my fatness invalidated what I was saying, you wouldn't be watching me. And I'll say the opposite. If you think my fatness does invalidate what I'm saying, why are you watching me? That's the funny one to me. If a hater is hating on you, it means they're watching you and they're actually just a rabid fan. So your biggest haters are actually your biggest fans. So I should start thanking them for watching over on YouTube. Sharon says, you, Jimmy, have taught a great many people a hell of a lot. We love you. Aw, thank you. You guys are pouring out your hearts to me now. Thank you for that. All right. So let's see if there's any more comments came in over here. The winds almost blew away our hammock, said Abel. Oh, you're talking to John over there. They're having their own little side conversation. Abel and John, pay attention. Jimmy's doing a Jimmy Rants. So guys, you're all out of questions. This isn't Ask Me Anything. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We're going to keep paying attention to like what's going on out there, some of the positive stuff that's out there. Yeah, there's just so many things going on that I'm trying to keep you informed, not with the negative stuff. You're getting bombarded with enough of that kind of thing. We're not getting near enough of the positive things. And sometimes news that comes out doesn't get a positive spin. So sometimes I'll share that with you as well so that you can see what's happening without feeling discouraged. And of course, it's not an Ask Me Anything segment on a Friday without somebody asking this question. This is literally the third or fourth Friday in a row I have answered this question. I don't know how people are missing it, but here it goes. March wants to know, how is Christine? So, those of you who don't know, Christine is my wife. We separated in September. And we made an announcement about that in February, right before I came back from sabbatical. And we asked that you respect our privacy at this time. So as far as I know, she's doing fine. She's living in her own home. I'm living here in my home and staying adequately socially distanced from not just each other, but from other people. So as far as I know, she's doing okay. But thank you for asking. And yes, please respect our privacy with this. All right, that one always comes up every single Friday. It's like I'm almost waiting for somebody to ask that one because I guess there's just not tune-in factor every single week. But anyway, I'm trying to make it clear that that's out there. All right, guys, so the weekend's coming up. I might try to sneak in a Jimmy Rants or two over the weekend. I'm not sure yet. I try to take it easy on the weekends, but I was a little bit light on the 5 p.m. Jimmy Rants this week. Just I wanted a little bit extra time in the afternoon to chill out. I'm feeling a little more stressed in my shoulders and back lately, so I'm trying to pay attention to my body when things like this happen and not get overwhelmed. So maybe I'll be back on the weekend. I got a lot of things to talk about. Some interesting new studies have come out, but we'll be back again soon with Jimmy Rants. So as always, we start off over on Instagram, so if you're not following me there, go follow at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVIN thank you, Linda. I'm gonna pay attention to my body. If I feel good, I'll come on camera at 2 p.m. either Saturday and or Sunday. But yeah, there's no pressure. I promise you, I don't feel pressured to come on here. I used to, but not anymore. If you missed the live of the Jimmy Rants, we do go live at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, sometimes 5 p.m. Eastern Time. You can watch it on replay for up to 24 hours. After 24 hours, it does pop over to jimmyrants.com. So that's where we put all the past episodes. Also on YouTube. Thank you to all my YouTubers, including you haters, which are really big time lovers. Like if you're watching my video all the way to the end like this on YouTube, and you leave me a hateful comment below, wow, you are a special kind of fan of Jimmy Moore. So I really appreciate you guys. Type in the keyword Jimmy Rants, you will find the show over on YouTube. All right, guys. Until next time, we'll see you then. All right.